everybody. Hi, Kafir. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being a member. I did open up today's stream to all subscribers, though. You just have to subscribe, and then you can participate. I did that because I think it was such a big story, and I would imagine a number of you would have questions, and so I wanted to make sure that everybody could participate. We'll go till about 4:15, and then I'll do some shout-outs. And then we can have, then that'll be today's stream. It's a little bit of a slow week because of, obviously Thanksgiving. And I think that also this news put Disney in a little bit of a weird position, but I'm sure they'll bounce back pretty fast. But yeah, so it's Thanksgiving week. I'm hoping to have a stream tomorrow and Wednesday still. We'll see if there are enough stories for us to have something to discuss. At the very least, hopefully there should be one tomorrow. So the stream is going to last about an hour. It'll last about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. All right, so please keep your questions to the Disney situation, but you may ask me anything about Disney. We're, of course, focusing on the two Bobs, but you can ask me anything. I'll accept anything that's like Disney adjacent. Jico, the tickets for Avatar went on sale at noon. But the trailer will be debuting tonight during football. Devin, I'm glad you're happy. Iger certainly has a very good run. So let's see here. Hi Bird says, what does this mean for Marvel and its structure change? Well, I think it depends on whether or not Bob Iger feels there's an issue there. We're going to have to see if that's how he feels, if that's, Bob Iger feels like something needs to be fixed. I think Bob Iger's pretty savvy. I think he probably would notice that there was a quality dip. I think Bob Iger is partially responsible for that quality dip with his insistence that Marvel supply so many Disney Plus shows. So I think that you're not going to see changes in Marvel immediately. Maybe they might, let up on the gas a little bit on Disney Plus shows. But right now, I think Marvel is the safest, because it's certainly still performing the best out of the bunch. I know Juice says Marvel is back, baby. That's right. Let's see here. Galeat says, what will the Avengers lineup be? Oh, I'm making a separate video about that. I already told you that I heard that Moon Knight will be on the next Avengers team. But I'll tell you the other stuff when I make that video, probably after the Thanksgiving holiday. Trisha Monger says, Grace, have you seen an insider from CNBC said Iger is interested in acquiring another company before his 2 years are up? Potential buys are Netflix and Warner Brothers. I think that, everybody, now that Bob Iger has gone on such a spending spree during his tenure, I think it's fun to imagine what else he could purchase, especially because it seems that whatever Bob Iger purchases, for the most part, does pretty well, or at least levels up. I think that Disney would probably be investigated by the government for being just a monopoly if they were to make any more purchases. I think they barely got away with purchasing Fox. So I don't believe that they will purchase anybody else. I mean, they're such a behemoth, they're having a hard enough time operating at their current size. So, never say never, but I feel like it would be unlikely. I mean, what would they need Netflix for, and what would they need Warner Brothers for? They already have all the things that those companies would bring to the table. Patrick says, do you think Catherine Powell could come back to head up the parks division, or do we need someone totally new? I think someone totally new would be better. I mean, some of people have said that Josh D'Amaro is beloved by fans, because he goes to the parks and says hi to everybody. He walks around, takes selfies with people, which is very cool. But I still think that the parks are such a mess that it would be, I think, beneficial for them to get somebody new in there. Caitlin says, I'm thrilled with this news. Do you think the parks will get rid of Genie Plus? I think that Genie Plus, I'm not sure about that because Genie Plus is generating an incredible amount of revenue, but I do think that some changes likely will be made. I think that you can't make a reservation until 7 a.m. on the morning of is a ridiculous rule. I think that, it should be closer to what the Fast Pass system was like, only paid. I think that it should be included if you're staying at a premium hotel, just like Universal does. I think they're going to have, maybe they might think of tiers. Maybe they might bring back Fast Passes, but, they have a very expensive option of skipping the line like Universal does. So I think that you'll see significant changes at the parks, but I think they're going to have to take a minute to say, how can we hold on to all the money that's being generated, but go back to the more preferable, experience for the park attendees. George Alexander says, hoping you reinstate some of the great stuff we loved about Disney parks. I'm heading back to Orlando in July next year. Oh, George, I'm glad you're going back. I hope to be going back soon. We'll see. I hope so. I think the parks are a huge thing that need to be fixed. That should be a top priority for Iger. Let me see here. Let me make sure I get all these super comments here. President Progressive says, were you shocked as much as I was, or did you have the inside tea about it beforehand? No, everybody was shocked about this. All of Hollywood was shocked. It was an absolutely shocking development. No one saw it coming, especially since Chapek had just had his contract renewed and, as I said, had gotten a big bonus, which everyone at the time had thought was ridiculous. They were like, why are you rewarding this guy? I mean, I guess the stock was doing nicely at that point, or wasn't as bad as it is now, but everybody was like, this is a disaster. I can't believe that you're keeping this guy around. So I think that what was the most shocking about it is that something that clearly should happen actually happened. How often does that happen? Cosmic says there are rumors that the head of Walt Disney Studios film division, Pixar Studios, and Marvel Studios got together secretly to express their resentment, which might have caused this. Is this true? I've not heard that. Pete Docter, I would be really surprised if adorable Pete Docter was going around talking trash about people. Kevin Feige, maybe. I think that someone might have sounded the alarm bells and been like, this is a real problem. And maybe that was why I really feel it was the stock. The stock dropping under $100 is a disaster. I mean, just an absolute disaster. I cannot stress that enough. Let's see here. Glalie says, when do you think Disney animation started to go downhill? I thought it was in a second renaissance. I think that, it lost some talent. Rich Moore left, of course, who did Zootopia. I think that they've been down. I think Wreck-It Ralph 2 wasn't good. I think Frozen 2 disappointed a lot of people. I think that, I think it's been for a little bit now, but I have very little faith in their current slate or any of their upcoming announced projects, to be honest with you. And I don't know if they can be canceled if they're that far along. And I also think that Pixar's Elemental looks like it should go right to Disney+. That doesn't look like a theater thing to me at all. Leo Gallimar says, Grace, any chance Warner Brothers follows with Zaslav? Well, let's see. First of all, can Zaslav sell fast enough to Universal, Comcast, that it's not an issue? He's like, take the money and run. So that's one option. He can start those negotiations in 2024. Although that's like a whole year. I mean, things could get pretty bad. If Gunn and Safran can't turn things around and make people feel more confident about the future of the DC franchise, and if he can't get Harry Potter up and running, he could find himself in a similar situation. But he recently got $250 million. So he already has a golden parachute. Aaliyah says, I noticed that Iger has not yet tweeted. I wonder if his QT of Biden caused a heat up for the Florida situation. No, Iger, he hasn't tweeted, I think, but he released a statement to the company, which was then released to the press. So he's certainly been speaking. I think that Iger, is not ready to do a victory lap just yet. I think Iger's going to take a moment. He said he's as surprised as the rest of us. So I think it signals that this deal came together very quickly, which is maybe another reason it didn't leak. So I think Iger wants to take a moment, think about what he's going to do, and then he'll get back out there. Iger's not a guy who gets afraid. Iger will come out fighting. He's not going to let anybody bully him. Sean says, been waiting for your coverage for this all day. Thanks, Sean. Eloy says, off topic. Oh, love you. I'm glad. This is a new shirt. I'm glad you like the shirt. I just got this. I'm trying to make sure I keep new shirts in the rotation. All right. Anthony says, do you think Iger retook the job to position himself better for a possible presidential campaign? That's a nice new picture, Anthony. I don't think so. I don't think that Iger will run for president. I think that Iger likes to be beloved by everyone, and I don't think that's possible in today's political landscape. And I think that, I don't think Iger is Democratic enough for the Democratic ticket, and he obviously doesn't want to be on the Republican ticket. So I'm not even sure what party that he would align himself with. Bob Iger doesn't want to get into a fight he can't win, and I think Bob Iger maybe would have some difficulties in the primary. I also feel, as we've been talking about lately, people are pretty tired of billionaires. And so I think that nobody wants to see, Bob Iger say, hey, I ran Disney, let me run the country. Tyra Nicole, that's a nice picture, Tyra, says, are Kathleen Kennedy's days numbered at Disney? I would imagine. I mean, if I were Bob Iger, I'd try to get her to take an early leave. Her contract runs through 2024. I'd be like, Kathleen, if I give you a lot of money, will you just go away now? I mean, with all due respect to Kathleen Kennedy, she has a very strong career as a producer, not a creative producer. She has a career of backing up Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And they needed that, and she provided that for them. But she clearly can't operate on her own. And I think that the fact that she has not been able to get a new movie off of the ground yet, when she was supposed to, everything's falling apart. The Patty Jenkins movie fell apart. The Taika Waititi movie seems to have fallen apart. Where's Kevin Feige's movie? It's just, and now Sean Levy, which seems to me like really like just reaching in the dark. Like, oh, everybody likes Sean Levy, right? And you're like, come on, Sean Levy can't do everything. I just think it's not going to work. I see you, Urias. All right, let's see here. Gritter Places, the tea I've heard is Iger and Disney may buy AMC theaters now that the Paramount decrees have ended. I don't know why on earth Disney would want to own AMC theaters. I don't know why Disney would want to get into that business. And then Disney's going to be negotiating with other studios. I just don't see why they would want to do that, especially because they're helping to put out the movie theater business. Oh, let's see here. YouTube skipped me back, so I'm going to make sure I get all your stuff. Where did this go? Okay, here it is. Next is Strat says, hey Grace, Steve from the UK, do you think a fellow Brit could become the new Bob Iger? Yes, as I said, I think Peter Rice is the top candidate for the job. I think there's a very good chance Peter Rice will take over. Expect Peter Rice to be rehired in the next few weeks as soon as they work out a deal. Galliot says, also, what's going on with Echo? Is Secret Invasion good? I hope Secret Invasion is good. I haven't heard any specific tea as to the quality of those shows, but I believe they're both moving forward. Let's see here. Harris says, do you think Iger will undo what Chapek did? I think that he'll undo some of it and he'll keep some of it. Just Josh says, do you think it will really just be 2 years or will he stay longer? I think it'll just be 2 years. Iger is supposed to just fix things up, probably fire some people. And he can do that because he's not going to stick around. So he'll come in and go pew, pew, pew. And then he'll bring in somebody else and say like, okay, now it's yours to run. Don't break it, please. Like the last guy. Bob Iger, I think they probably gave Bob Iger a ton of money. I think they backed up a truck to his house. And also, I think they probably talked to him about his legacy being destroyed. And they were like, you picked him, Bob Iger. You picked Bob Chapek, and people are going to remember that. So I think this is like about kind of fixing that and then riding off into the sunset. Take two. Zay says, hey, Grace, been a sub since 2014. Thank you. That's so kind of you. I heard you mention that you were not reviewing Strange World. Yeah, I have a lot to do this week. And I don't want to hate on the movie because, I think it's going to be important to some people because of the representation that it offers. So I really don't want to hate on the film. I just felt, as Marcos also asked about this, it's just, as I said on a recent stream, if you saw the Cheaper by the Dozen remake that recently aired on Disney+, it's the exact same movie, only it's like a sci-fi film. And I think it has almost all the same problems as that movie. Leo says, what do you think of the theory that Iger was going to dip out before pandemic took Chapek to be... before the pandemic, took Chapek to be the Fallout guy, and now he's back looking like the hero. No, I don't think that, because then why was he going around telling everybody he hated Bob Chapek and shooting him evil eyes during company events, being like, I hate that guy, nobody talked to him. I mean, I think that, no, I don't think that you can be that. I mean, why would he want the company to fall? And, Chapek was doing so well that he pushed Bob Iger out. And I don't think Bob Iger was like playing along with that ruse. So I don't think so. Trip Power says, how much of the increased MCU release cadence is a product of Feige's ambition versus Chapek using Marvel IP to fill out Disney+? Well, Bob Iger is the one who started that. We have to be fair. That was Bob Iger's idea. And I think that, I wonder if Feige really wants to make this much content. I mean, it's clearly too much. He's like, I'm doing all the heavy lifting here on Disney Plus myself. And he is. But I think She-Hulk like finally went too far, like finally broke the whole thing, and everyone's just like, we have a problem here, man. So I think that, I think it takes two to tango, though. Devin Pullen says something's problem was that he seemed insincere. Iger was like, Chapek's problem was that he seemed insincere. Iger was like Walt the uncle. We all wanted to. Well, that's an interesting thing about persona. I think that Bob Iger is not even particularly good on his feet. His delivery is a little stilted. It's hard to be a Walt. Michael Eisner had a looseness about him that I think went over pretty well when he would do his introductions back in the day. But, Chapek was clearly not someone who felt like he should be out front being the face of a company. And I don't think it did him any favors. He grew that beard at the last minute being like, how you like me now? It was certainly an interesting look. But, I think that, I think the biggest problem was what he did with the theme parks. I think that's what made people truly hate Bob Chapek. Devin Leary says, Iger set up great pillars for a very successful company. However, Chapek made them all fall down like dominoes. Also, the cast member email was very classy. Oh, you're talking about what Iger wrote. Yeah, he's really nice. Trisha Munger says, perfect timing for Iger. His Avatar is definitely going to make $1 billion. I don't know. Who bought Avatar tickets today? I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion. I think it's been a long time since the last movie. Random Video says, get Johnny Depp in a new Pirates movie. Let's see. I think, that's a lot of drama right there. Cool Guy 567 says, it's been hard doing the interviews for Strange World knowing that you didn't care for the film. No, it wasn't hard because I made a point of not saying I really loved your movie. I kept it professional. I asked some questions that I was genuinely interested in. And I appreciated hearing their perspective on the film. It's interesting. Whenever you talk to a filmmaker about their movie, I've discovered, you're often like, oh, you're really well-intentioned. And that does sound like a good idea. And it's weird to be like, but I've seen your movie, and I don't really think that you accomplished what you set out to do. So we'll see. Of course, the market ultimately decides, but I think the market will be quite cruel to this film. Alexis says, hey, Grace from Greece. I know you're not big in books, but have you read Iger's Ride of a Lifetime? No, I haven't. I just, I went through a phase, like I think a lot of people do, where I read a lot of biographies. But at this point, I didn't want to pick it up. But I think if you are still in the biography phase, that would be a great book to check out. I think Bob Iger is a very savvy businessman. Sean says, do you ever see Iger entering the political arena? No, because as I said, he doesn't want to be disliked by anybody. And I don't think so. It's a very contentious space right now. Nathaniel Rogers says, do you think that Iger's judgment will be questioned when it comes to his second replacement after Chapek's run? No, I don't, because I think they're so desperate for new leadership. And I think he's going to pick Peter Rice. That's what a lot of people in the industry feel he's going to do. So I think they're going to give it, I don't think they're going to invite, Bob Iger to fix this thing again. He's got one more shot, and that's it. Liam says, just got on stream, but doesn't Iger advise DC now? Well, Liam, he was advising all of Warner Brothers Discovery because he hated Bob Chapek that much, but now that's not going to happen anymore because now he's back at Disney. So he's not advising them. He was advising them off the table, behind the scenes. And Alan Horn was an official advisor, but I don't think that's going to happen. Trisha says, what will Iger do first? I think he'll put out a lot of the fires and try to make people less angry. I think he's really going to address the park situation. Adam Feely says, Iger versus DeSantis SmackDown soon. I don't think Bob Iger's going to fight Ron DeSantis because Ron DeSantis, is going to just... He fights dirty, and I don't think that Bob Iger wants to be involved in that type of a fight. So I think that maybe he might try behind the back channels to but if it ever got out that he gave any money to Ron DeSantis' campaign, that would be a disaster for him. So I think Bob Iger's probably just going to ignore him and go through other parties to have negotiated. I would suspect that Bob Iger never addresses Ron DeSantis at all. Eloy says, Disney will search for a new Bob and Millie Bobby Brown. Let's see here. Okay, I think I got everybody's super chat here. Oh, wait, there's one. Trisha, that's right. Christmas came early, baby. I'm pretty excited for Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year. 80s Model gifted another 5 memberships. 80s Model, you're always very generous. Caden says, when do you think the Indiana Jones 5 trailer will come out? Well, I had thought it might come out today, but instead they put the Avatar tickets on sale. I knew Disney was releasing something today. So I suspect that the Indiana Jones trailer might, it'll be probably in the next week or so, obviously to play in front of Avatar. But, they released some other trailers for Black Panther Wakanda Forever ridiculously early. Remember how early the Ant-Man trailer came out? So I think you're probably going to see Indiana Jones, and I would also think Little Mermaid trailers for in front of Avatar. So I think after Thanksgiving, probably the Monday right after Thanksgiving, something probably will drop, I would think. Joy says, is there a chance he'll replace Michael Waldron for Secret Wars? That's not a decision that Iger can make. And I think that, Kevin Feige's all in on Michael Waldron for some reason. So he's writing a Star Wars movie. I mean, I don't understand why when we were all like, that guy, I mean, I guess because he's still riding the Loki wave. But I mean, I don't know. I think that crashed and burned with Multiverse of Madness, quite frankly. I don't know. Maybe Kevin Feige said, maybe this time watch the previous material. So let's see how it works out. But I think it's surprising that Michael Waldron is getting so much work. Although I told you, someone I know in the industry said, every time you guys talk about Michael Waldron, it makes him a star because so few screenwriters have name recognition. But I'd be like, all right, let Michael Waldron go get a job somewhere else then. Why does he have to keep ruining this stuff? Voice Inject says, what about Bob? Are you just me like this? That was a good movie. See here. Other questions. Mahul says, any tea on Blade? The latest I heard about Blade was that it takes place in the 1920s. They're really changing. They're just ripping that script apart. I think that the little girl he was supposed to train, that was either his daughter or Dracula's daughter, that's probably going to be removed, that storyline. Which is good because I think it's a little bit too similar to what happened with Thor and Thor Love and Thunder. I also heard that, I think that actor's name was Aaron Pierce, that he was actually going to have been Dracula. But nothing is sure anymore with Blade. I mean, they still haven't picked a director. Lucas says, Grace, did you hear anything specific about Pete Docter getting fired? I would love for him to stay, especially since his projects are only starting to come out. All recent movies were greenlit by Lasseter. I didn't hear any. I only heard stuff about Jennifer Lee, although I do think that Pixar is seriously underperforming. So let's see. I think Pixar movies are too small. Thanks, AG68. Galliot, you keep asking about Echo and Secret Invasion. I don't have any specific news about either of those right now, and I don't want to ruin who Skrulls are, because that's not cool. Hey Jay says, do you think Iger will make any crazy business decisions, like buying another company again? You can't top the craziness of buying Fox. And he's one purchase away from a disaster, so he doesn't want that to happen. So no, I don't think he'll do that. I think Iger is going to clean everything up and then get out of there. Let's see here. Leo, I haven't heard anything about Kid as Hulkling. Mish says, Grace, do you think that Iger will reduce the amount of streaming shows to focus on quality over quantity, even with Marvel? I sure hope so. That's what I talked about in my video. I really hope that that is the case. I think they have a real quality problem on the content they're making. Jay says, hi, Grace, been a fan since your theater interviews for the Clone Wars films way back in 2008. That's just when I started. I love it. What projects do you think Iger will pull? It's hard to pull something. I mean, what is he, David Zaslav? He's going to do, pull a Batgirl? I think that's more like shifting. I think it'll be more about what he greenlights. I think it'll be more, who he leaves in charge. I think those are the most important things. Lucas, I am more excited about Avatar 2 after rewatching the original. I highly recommend that you rewatch the original. Keith, I have not watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special yet. I got my screener today. It's 42 minutes long, and I'm going to watch it. But remember, that includes credits, so it's probably about half an hour. I'm going to watch that probably tomorrow morning, and the review embargo lifts on Wednesday at noon, Eastern Standard Time. Trisha, I missed your super chat? Hold on. Oh, Cool Guy says, Grace, favorite restaurant in New York City? I don't know. I haven't eaten in a restaurant. I haven't eaten inside a restaurant since the beginning of the pandemic. So it's been rough. Let's see here. I saw that. Trisha, let me find your thing. I don't know why YouTube skips ahead on this stuff. Oh, Tricia says, what do you think Kevin Feige thinks of this news? I think he's happy. He got rid of Isaac Perlmutter. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. All right, let's see here. Sam says, hopefully another Bob isn't put in charge. This was already very confusing with just two. That's right. We're like, we didn't find a third Bob. And Geneba says, hey, Grace, do you think Iger has a better PR team than Chapek? Because Iger has made some bad decisions too, and his perception of Disney magic seems to be remakes and rehashing content that Chapek is just following. I think that Bob Iger is slicker. I think he has a more experience. I think Bob Iger is more Hollywood. I think he speaks the language of the people there. You know, a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to do my thing. And I want to, walk my own walk and talk my own talk. People gravitate towards what they know. And I think if you want to operate in Hollywood, you have to be able to be a Hollywood operator. And that is something that Chapek never had the ability to do, but that Bob Iger is very good at. I mean, he was a weatherman. He's slick. Dennis says, do you think Kevin Feige would go from Disney to Warner Brothers in the future, be the head of films? No, I don't think so. Especially after James Gunn did that. I mean, he doesn't want to he doesn't want to repeat that. I really only think that Kevin Feige threatened to do that to make it clear to Disney that they had to side with him over, like, I think it was Isaac Perlmutter or Jeff Loeb. I think that was really just a threat that he was that upset. But I mean, now he's pretty much allowed to do whatever he wants. So I think he's fine. I don't see Feige ever going to doing that. Oh, Jesse, welcome back. And then Chris says, hey, Grace, I'm coming to New York City to see Phantom on Broadway before it closes. How is the weather in January? Freaking cold. It's very cold here. Danny says, Grace, why did your thoughts on Avatar change since you hated it? I think when I was watching with other people, I just enjoyed the spectacle of it more. And I just, for some reason, all my problems with it just kind of melted away. And I was really blown away by the quality of the visuals. So I think I just enjoyed it a lot more. I guess it's simplistic and somewhat cliche storytelling just didn't bother me anymore. Let's see here. Oh, I saw that there. Oh, thanks, Aquilas. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Erwin says, do you think Disney will lose animated feature? What do you mean will lose an animated feature? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I think that, will they scrap any of the ones? I don't know. It would depend how much time they've already spent on it. William A. says, hi, Grace, do you think this will correct a lot of the things with Marvel and Pixar? I hope so. I really hope so. Thanks, Benji. Caden says the first thing Iger should do is give us more Wanda. I love that. That would be hilarious. Jesse, I like that Bob Iger's like, first things first. What's Wanda up to? Rob says, hey, Grace, finally got to be part of a live. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad. Mish says, I have so many. Mish, for some reason, keeps capturing my attention here. Let's see here. Brian Hess says, I think head of Pixar and animation are gone. Yeah, that was my prediction as well. I think that's very likely. Chris Vorna says, do you think Filoni or Favreau will lead Lucasfilm? Well, if anyone could talk either of them into it, it would be Bob Iger. Maybe they could team up. Maybe Gunn and Safran will pave the way. And they're like, if you guys team up, you'll have more free time to pursue your other things that you want to do. But you really kind of need an executive to be in there. That's kind of the problem with Gunn and Safran. Are either of them really going to 100% commit to DC and not their other projects that they're doing? It would be great if Dave Filoni would do it, but then it would be hard for Dave Filoni to do anything creatively anymore. So, but I mean, I would talk to both of them and see if maybe they could do it. And maybe I would add an executive to back them up. Trisha, you had another super chat. Okay. AG68 says, hey, Grace, been watching you since 2014. Will Bob consider buying Spider-Man right back? He can't unless Sony sells off its entertainment division. So, Erwin Olin says at the Oscars, do I think Disney will win at the animated best feature for the Oscars this year? I think it's going to be tough for them, knowing the content that they're putting up for contention. I think that it's going to go to somebody else most likely. Okay, so Horst says, will Iger fire Victoria Alonso? I hate that term, guys. I absolutely hate that term. I don't know why you guys are all blaming Victoria Alonso. I don't think she has that level of creative control over at Marvel. And Kevin Feige still has to approve it. I don't think that they're going to get rid of Victoria Alonso. I mean, I think people are targeting her because she's a female executive and an LGBT executive, but I kind of don't think that's totally fair. I mean, she's been there the whole time. So why do you only think she's a problem now? All right, let's see here. Did I miss anything? All right, let's see here. Sidhu says, if Warner Brothers does Superman, who do you think will still direct? Well, let's see what the new plan is. The Gunn and Safran are going to be pitching it the next month or so. Jesse says, do you think Iger will bring back FastPass and 86 Genie Plus? Well, Jesse, I answered that earlier in the stream. I think they're going to definitely tinker with Genie Plus, and they're going to make some changes, but Genie Plus is bringing in so much cash, I don't think they'll immediately do away with it. Sean says, was Doctor Doom ever seriously considered for Black Panther 2? Well, Marvel will tell you it wasn't, but I heard, and so did a number of scoopers, that he was seriously considered for that. So I think that, you'll have to just decide who you believe. Degenba says, I already answered that one. Cool Guy says, Grace, your reviews are so well constructed. Do you take notes during the movie, or do you have boxes that you check off to structure your reviews? Oh, that's so nice. I actually don't take notes during a movie because it distracts me and pulls me out of what I'm watching. I will often, when a movie is done, I will immediately jot down, often emailing myself my initial thoughts on it. Like last night, even for any story, last night when the Bob Iger story broke, I had like a chain of 18 emails to myself, over the hours as before I couldn't fall asleep as I was thinking of things I wanted to add to my report. So that's what I'll do, and then I'll just write it out. I'll just write out, what I'm thinking about the movie. But I'm glad you really like my reviews. That makes me feel very nice. I appreciate it. You don't have to ever apologize, Galliot. Don't worry about it. Trisha, oh, there's Trisha. Where did that go? Trisha says, great. What's in worse hands right now? Warner Brothers or Disney? Warner Brothers, for sure. Warner Brothers is cursed, man. Cursed! Zarb says, was Warner Brothers on Disney's mind when they booted Chapek? No, I don't think so. I think their stock was on their mind. Their stock was really have been in bad shape. And remember, their stock was a high point during the pandemic. It got close to $200, and it dropped to under $100? Yee. Emily says, would Feige ever take over Disney? No, I don't think he would. And to be honest with you, I don't think Feige would be a good person to take over Disney. I think he gravitates towards people like James Gunn and Peyton Reed and Taika Waititi. I think because, I think that's maybe I think, Kevin Feige is like a little bit of the same personality. And so I don't know if he would have like the coziness factor that Disney's supposed to have. And that Bob Iger, I think the best thing that could be said about Bob Iger is that Bob Iger gets the coziness. And I think that's really wonderful. Oh, thanks, Undead Queen Danny. I'm glad you think I'm very professional. Max Vem says, why Strange New Worlds theater release but Turning Red on Disney Plus? It's tough. They make these decisions on a case-by-case basis. I think Turning Red would have bombed in theaters. Absolutely bombed. I think Turning Red was perfect for Disney Plus. But I think, I think Strange New World, they want to really look like they're backing up the representation in that movie. But, obviously they know it's not a good movie because they're hardly advertising it. Dylan says, Grace, thank you, Dylan. That's very sweet of you. All right, let me try to answer some non-subscriber questions. Some non-member questions. Let's see here. D. Louis says he should buy the rights to Harry Potter. I think that would be too hard for them to do that, but I like the way you're thinking. Thanks, Samuel Johns. Let's see here. Miss Carriage says, no more Taika Waititi for the love of God. Yeah, Taika Waititi really ruined his reputation with Thor Love and Thunder. People went from thinking Taika could do no wrong to maybe Taika should take a break. I don't think anyone's still excited about a Taika Waititi Star Wars project, quite frankly. All right, hold on. Let me see. I'm missing some questions here. All right. One thing went away. Somebody asked me if, let's see. Okay. Harlequin Dove says, what do you think Chapek's next move will be? Well, as I said in my earlier video, I think there's a very good likelihood that Chapek will move to another industry. I do not think he will stay in Hollywood because this is very embarrassing. Vader's Pet Pig says, Grace, do you think Bryce Dallas Howard can get into an executive role at Lucasfilm or even Disney? You know, she's a great choice. I love Bryce Dallas Howard, and she truly loves Disney. But I don't even know if she'd be interested in that. I hope that someone, go tweet her that, because she should consider that. I don't really think that anything's really working out for Bryce Dallas Howard. She doesn't act very much. She doesn't direct very much. Why not go be a suit? I'd love for her to run Star Wars. I really like Bryce Dallas Howard. I think she's a great person. Toby says, will Bob work on relationships with China? Well, as I said in my video, I don't even know if Bob wants to work on relationships with China, because I don't think that China's box office is what it once was. Oh, that's very sweet of you to say, Emo. I appreciate that. That's so kind of you. Thank you. I'm very flattered. Let's see here. Mahul says, Grace, have you seen The Sun or The Whale? I'm really excited for both because of Sadie Sink and Hugh Jackman. While I have an invite to see The Whale, I don't know if I'm going to watch The Sun. It doesn't look particularly good to me, to be honest with you. But we'll see. Let's see here. Danny says, do you think Bob Iger liked She-Hulk? I think Bob Iger doesn't care if he liked She-Hulk or not. I think Bob Iger probably realizes that it was divisive. That would be my guess. Do some of these comments disappear if I don't get to them fast enough? Oh, here, Bruce Wayne. Hey, Bruce Wayne, if you were Sony and wanted to sell your entertainment division, how much would you sell it to Disney for? I don't think Disney wants to buy Sony's entertainment division. It would be billions of dollars, and Disney is not in a position to make that kind of a purchase right now. Franco, you didn't even ask me what you thought Bob Iger should do. Let's see here. Rob Silva says, will you talk about Thunderbolts and Hyperion? Well, I tweeted about that they're casting an evil Superman villain for the Thunderbolts movie, and they were considering Ryan Gosling or Alexander Skarsgård. I have to tell you that it seems to me like, forget ripping off Suicide Squad, that it seems they're trying to rip off The Boys. And good luck to anyone trying to rip off The Boys. That is a huge, colossal mistake of an idea, and I cannot believe that nobody would warn Marvel off of doing that. I mean, that to me is like, that could be a turning point. No one could defend trying to rip off The Boys. Chris Isley says, Grace, when are you planning to start your Oscar coverage? And do you reckon it's Colin Farrell's moment? I gotta tell you, I really didn't like the movie, Banshees of Inisherin, but I think Colin Farrell will definitely get nominated. I'll start my Oscar coverage when they start doing announce the nominations. I've still not decided what I'm going to do about the Golden Globes. Some of you asked me not to cover it, but I do think that the Golden Globe nominations will be important. So maybe a live stream for that one. Maybe we'll do it as a live, and we'll just keep talking about how horrible an organization they are. Or maybe I'll put that on the bottom. I'll have like a running thing on the bottom that's like, don't forget, this is a horrible organization. Andrea says, hey, Grace, I've been a subscriber since your Civil War videos. Whilst going through I'm sorry to hear you had a personal issue, but I'm glad it sounds like you came out on top. You're always my first source for movie news. Thank you, Andrea. That's very kind of you. 80s Model says, Grace, are the rumors about Ant-Man 3 having a great script true? I think it's very silly, and it seems very inconsequential to me, but they did change a lot, so I think maybe it could work. I don't know. Let's see. I'm still like non-committal on the quality of that movie. Danny says, that's a good question. Danny says, did Henry Cavill mess up aligning himself with Dwayne Johnson? Well, he is like very deep there because, of course, his manager is Dwayne Johnson's business partner / ex-wife. I think that maybe he made a mistake in trusting them too much and that they could get the job done. I really think that Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia made a mistake getting involved in the Henry Cavill drama, because Henry Cavill has drama everywhere he goes, where The Rock and Danny Garcia have been able to avoid it up until now. I told you, every single person who joins DC regrets it. To a T. And I said that would happen to Dwayne Johnson, and it happened even faster than I ever anticipated. And I suspect that Gunn and Safran will end up regretting it. I hope not. Nothing would make me happier than for James Gunn and Peter Safran to deliver and to give me wonderful movies to cover. All right, let's see here. Anthony says, do you think Iger will address Disney's lack of more adult, serious, focused content? I love Andor but Anthony, I don't know if people want that from Disney, as evidenced by how poorly Andor is doing. But I do love Andor. I was working on my spoiler review notes before the live stream started. All right, let's see here. Let me answer some subscriber questions. Okay, Jojo Bell says, I'm glad Iger is back, baby. I wonder how Bob C is feeling seeing so many. Yeah, it's gotta hurt. But I don't feel too bad for Bob Chapek because he was very mean. And I think he really destroyed the Disney magic for a lot of people. And he was aggressively pricing people out of something that's very important to them. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for Bob Chapek. Hey, HPU. All right. Trisha, okay. Disney Plus fan says, will Bob Iger fix Disney animation? I hope so. Let me see. Did I miss another? Iger just changed his bio on Twitter, Cosmics. That's great. Trisha, Juan Carlos says, my friend got the Bob email while we had dinner. That's funny. Yeah, that's fun. I also was hearing it while I was watching White Lotus. I was trying to enjoy White Lotus. Franco Tellez says, Grace, did you watch the Florence Pugh movie on Netflix? That's not anything to do with Disney, and I did not. Let's see here. Trisha, where's your thing? Trisha, are you just saying that I missed your super chat? Patricia, you're always, I trust you, Trisha. You wouldn't do that. Okay. Hey, Benji. Thanks for joining. All right, let me try and answer some non-member questions. Well, hey, Tyler. Iger didn't ruin Star Wars. Fans did. Fans behave the same way over the sequels that they used to over the prequels. I'd love to get Star Wars back on track. A huge fan of the sequels and prequels. Tyler, I think it takes two to tango. I think the fans definitely are culpable. Some of the fans are culpable, but I think that Disney, Disney and Star Wars didn't really need to poke the hornet's nest the way that they did. So I think that was problematic as well. Like, why would you pick fights with your fandom? It makes no sense to me. Jesse said, do you think Iger will be pro R rating for Deadpool 3? Yeah, I think once you have Hugh Jackman and Deadpool in there, you got to slice and dice. You got to allow them to slice and dice. Although, from what I've heard about the movie, it's very silly and funny. So I think I don't know. It's a tough decision. But people will be so angry if it's not rated R. Vader's Pet Pig says, do you think it would be possible or wise for Bob Iger to reach out to George Lucas? No. Go away, George Lucas. Let's see here. Aaron Haley says, love your videos and reviews. Love all the love from Dublin, Ireland. Thanks, Aaron. Nathan says, are you going to do a Black Panther 2 watch along? Let's see what it comes out with it. It's hard. I mean, we had a really hard time doing the watch along for Avatar. We took 2 breaks. We took 2 intermission breaks to stretch our legs. So it depends when Black Panther hits the streaming service. Robo Striker says, Grace, how long was Bob Iger the CEO of Disney? I believe it was 15 years. Let's see here. Abe Jackson says, Deadpool tea? All right, I'll give you some Deadpool tea. For Deadpool 3, I heard that the villain is female for that movie. But I don't know who it is. B Sponge says, who else wants to see these movies get a proper theatrical release? Soul, Turning Red, Mulan. Bob Iger does believe in the theatrical experience. Yeah, I think he does. But I mean, that was during the pandemic, to be fair. I think that I didn't have any problems with the way it was handled. Hijani, I talked about Chris Hemsworth on a previous stream. I felt very bad for him. Aaron Doherty says, rumor is Iger just sent out company-wide email for employees to take severance or commit to going mad for the mouse. Oh, that's a take on Elon Musk. That's very funny. I love it. That's very funny. It would be funnier if Elon Musk wasn't nuts. Let's see here. MH says, Grace, do you think Kate Bishop will be in the next lineup of Avengers? No, I do not. But, she could be, but I haven't heard anything, and I don't think so. Justin says, Grace, what do you think Bob Iger could do to fix Star Wars? Get a new head of Lucasfilm. 100%. That's the only thing I think will truly fix it. Andrew Storm says, how can Disney fall apart only a year after Iger leaves? Well, as some people pointed out, and I agree, that some of this stuff is Iger's fault. It's not totally Chapek's fault. So, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be a slam dunk for Iger either. Ayu Doan says, are you excited or worried to see what they do with Monica Rambeau? I'm excited because Nia DaCosta is going to take care of her. I've heard that Nia DaCosta is extremely protective of that character and making sure she comes across really well. So I think there's a very good chance she'll be better in the movie than, Captain Marvel. Let's see. Jacob says, do you think Chapek's son is going to be kicked out of Marvel now? No, but I think it's going to be awkward because this is super embarrassing. Way to be fired. B.E. McFlurry says, hey, Grace, when do you think we will see Hulkling in the MCU? Oh, Trish, I'm not sure. I've said before, it'll either be Secret Invasion or Agatha Coven of Chaos, but you can't have Wiccan without Hulkling eventually. Trisha says, no need to scroll up. I asked if it was R-rated in trouble, if R ratings are in trouble with Iger. Good use of emojis, Trisha. You're very smart. I'm not sure. Disney's got a Disney. People want something very specific from Disney. Media Lover says, will you be seeing The Way of Water in IMAX 3D? Well, it depends what the press screening is in, but it better be. I'm going to be severely disappointed if it's not in IMAX 3D. Eva says, Eisner needs to come back to save animation and live action. Well, actually, Eva, Jeffrey Katzenberg is the one who fixed Disney animation. So, Michael Eisner, it's everyone looks to the past with rose-colored glasses, but Michael Eisner created a lot of problems himself, and he was also fired. Let's see here. Oh, hey, King San. Jack Ross says, do you think Chris Hemsworth is done working with Taika Waititi? No. I think that Taika Waititi reinvigorated Chris Hemsworth's career with Thor Ragnarok. So I don't think that'll happen. Rashad, did I miss your super chat? I mean, I don't think he'll turn his back on him. He owes him too much. Chris Hemsworth's a really easygoing guy. He's not going to do that. Rashad, I don't see anything from you. What time is it? It's 4:06. All right, let's see here. Let me do shout outs. And I'm going to try and do shout outs just to subscribers, because members can get shout outs all the time. So just please tell me what you're up to, what you're doing, and so I can say hi. Ryan, I don't think I'm going to cover Willow. I have all the episodes, but I have so much to do, I can't really make myself watch it, to be honest with you. Cassandra says, hey, Grace, what changes to the parks do you envision now that Bob Iger is back? I think they're going to take away the nickel and diming, which I hope is true. Lewis says, hey, Grace, just relaxing on school break. And hey, Azuro Productions. Jojo Bell says, all Iger has to do is make a few good surface level decisions and the Disney, particularly the parks community, will welcome back with open arms. That's all he has to do is get rid of Genie Plus or significantly change it, and everyone will be like, we love you, Bob Iger. Fairy Potter, oh, that's a great name, says having the week off and chilling. Good for you. Gate Vibes, I'm from Pittsburgh, Grace, so excited every time you mention visiting. I've been watching your channel since 2013. Thank you. I love Pittsburgh, great town. Eloy Ramirez says, hey, Grace, been a subscriber since your Batman v Superman coverage. Watching this video on a relaxing day off. Awesome. Let's see here. Hey, Chris Bullock. That's very kind of you to say. Ian Grimm says, and get rid of park reservations. Yeah, I really hate park reservations too. As a big theme park fan, I have not been happy with the changes, although I have not experienced the parks since they put them into effect. Lil Sushi says, just finished watching the U.S. versus Wales World Cup game. Oh, is the World Cup now? I like the World Cup. Let's see here. Alexander Wilson says, Disney's CFO Christine McCarthy went to the board and gave a no confidence in Chapek. That really hurt Chapek from CNBC. Wow, she always talks after, on the investment calls, there's like some woman who comes on after Chapek. That's her. So she stabbed him in the back. She's like, he's an idiot. Get him out of here, please. Jorge is sad that the USA tied versus Wales. That's funny. But also sad. Let's see. Xander says, about to go on a run between college courses, officially an English major and business minor. Oh, that's awesome. Been a fan since the street interviews. Xander, that means so much to me. Thank you. The Sinister Mister says, hey, Grace, eating some ramen and preparing for a night shift. Stoked I got to catch your take on Chapek. That's awesome. I'm glad you did too. Hey, Ian, thanks for joining. Let's see here. Victor Marquez says, working from home with 3 napping cats. That's adorable. Jay Terrell says, hi, Grace, about to get off work and take my Thanksgiving vacation. That's awesome. You're getting off early. That's so exciting. I'm hoping to take off Wednesday afternoon, but I'll have videos prepared to go throughout the weekend. Andromeda says, just got home from work, been listening to your stream on my way home. My first time commenting on a live stream. About to tear into a book I've been reading. Love your videos. Ah, that's so nice to hear from you. I like that little picture you painted there. Iabro says, do you think Secret Wars will meet expectations? Yes, I do. Especially because Multiverse of Madness did not. I think Feige, he's got to fix that. He can't drop the ball twice like that. Just Lucy says, enjoying this live stream with loved ones here. Ah, hello, loved ones. Here, there, everywhere, and a fresh cup of coffee. Ah, awesome. Babar! Where did that go? Oh, Babar, I missed your comment. Sorry, Babar. That skipped ahead on me. Jesse says, new job and moving to New York City. Oh, welcome. New York City's a great town. 68th and Broadway is the most famous movie theater in the city. Jacob says, Feige isn't considered for CEO? No, and I don't think he'd want it. Why would he? He has his dream job. He has his dream job, and he's getting paid handsomely to do it. Nova Star says, have a good Thanksgiving, and if you read my Agatha Coven of Chaos theory, and if you did, what did you think of my... I'll have to check that out, Nova Star. I'm sorry. I will get on that right after the stream. Ryan Hill says, hey Grace, greetings from South Africa. Oh, hello. Just wanted to say that I love the way your videos are constructed and edited. They're always so fun, colorful, and easy to follow. Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. I love that. Thank you for that feedback. And Daniel Close says, the only Disney films I've ever consistently cared for were the old Touchstone films. That's right. They're adult banner back in the day. Lucas Blanco is in Orlando. Oh, I'm so jealous. Finishing up dinner and college apps. And let's see here. And then Benji says, do you think Disney is promoting Little Mermaid more this year? Are you excited? Maybe Iger will speed up promotion. Well, the movie's pretty far off. I think it's right on schedule in terms of promotion. It doesn't come out till Memorial Day weekend in 2023. So I do think they'll have the first teaser trailer, hopefully with Avatar The Way of Water. Let's see. I think I got everybody. I better get going. I have a screening to get to. But I had a wonderful time talking to all of you. Thank you for joining me for today's live stream. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Toodles. Toodles.